If you've been watching my videos, you'll notice that this area over here has had no activity for about, a little over a year. Well, I just started working on it, and I'm going to extend the track across Rock Creek. So this is what this video is about. I'm going to have a couple of videos on model railroading for beginners that'll show a couple of techniques that I use on there, and this will probably take up maybe 2 videos. This first video is going to be what I have done so far, and the next video on this is going to be what I will be doing on the other side of Rock Creek. So let's get started with this right now. I'm Tom Kvichak, and this is Tom's Trains and Things. This channel was created to help other modelers who are in need of guidance in pursuing their dream of building a model railroad. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm continuing on building my model railroad going across Rock Creek right here. And I'm going to show you the steps that I am taking to get across there. And this first video is going to be the beginning of what I'm doing in that process. So let's see what we're doing right now. I cut out a piece of existing track that was right here. It went up to about right there. I shaved back all the cork that I had in there and put a new piece right here. But what I'm going to do is have this one here, and this one's going to turn over top on top of those 2 wires, and I'm going to have a turnout over here. But before I do any of that, I have to fill in this area right here. I have another piece to put down here, and I'll have a bridge abutment coming up there to fill in the gap. But that's so I could run some rolling stock over here, put some industry over there. I had it different about a year ago or a year and a half ago when I tore all this stuff out. So I'm finally going to work on this. Here's a few photos of what it looked like before I tore everything out. Now this was about 2 years ago when I was building it and then finally had the finished product. That's what it used to look like, and by the time we get finished, it's going to look something like that again, except for it'll have less tracks on there. Now that we got the bracing in there that we need, we have this piece down here, and then these 2 pieces right here. I'm going to lay down some glue for the roadbed right there. I laid down some glue, and I'm going to spread it out with my finger. If you have a piece of plastic or anything, you could use it that way. It makes it a little bit easier. I didn't have the small container of my glue, so I have to use this big one right here. It's a little bit harder to spread out, but it gets its work done anyway. You just get it all spread out to everywhere that you want it, and then wipe off the excess in places, and then start laying your roadbed down. This is the manufactured roadbed that I usually don't use. You just have to set it into place and get it close to where you want it. Then you could adjust it to your final position before you clamp it down. And I use a 2x2. It was luckily the proper length for it, so it worked out pretty good, and I just clamp it at both ends and let that thing sit overnight. And then clean it up a little bit. When you clamp it down, you're going to get some seeping out. You're going to get some glue seeping out on the edges, so you just wipe that up before it gets too much of a mess. We're going to lay that piece in there. You're going to put the turnout in there. Got to put the flex track in there, put the turnout in there, put the straight piece in, and then determine where we're going to have the turnout and run the track across the Rock Creek. You'll notice that I put a piece of plywood in here. I cut it to fit pretty close. I mean, it was just a scrap piece of plywood, and fit it in there, put a brace underneath it, put 2 braces over there, and then I cut this. This piece is going to go right there. I'll put that in after I take the braces out. Good. That's how I glued down my roadbed. Well, you'll notice that I took out this bridge right here so I could do a little bit more work on it. I have everything glued down. I even put the tracks in there, the one siding over here, and then I have this one coming over this way. This is going to come across on 2 separate bridges. I cut out the piece right here for the support for the bridge in the center. Now I have this old one that I had that I used someplace else. I'm going to have to redo this, but I used some of that Chooch Enterprises on here, the sticky stuff, and this is 2 1x4s that I glued together to make a bridge abutment. And then this one right here that I've used on this bridge, the existing bridge, these are the precast Chooch Enterprise ones. They're resin, and I cut them to size on the bottom so they would fit nicely in there. Whatever I can get, it's only 60 foot, and then my other one right here, I can't use this over top of the track because of the low clearance right here. So that'll be the second one that goes right here. I don't know if you can see it. And then the shorter one, the plate girder, through plate girder bridge, will go right over top of the tracks. I'm getting ready to cut some supports for over here. I took some of the supports out down below here for the lift out. I have a lift out section right here that goes in between all the curves, but I have to put some more supports in there and put some supports over here for the bridge that I'm going to be putting in. Originally, I had my feed wires coming up through the center of the roadbed right here, but what I did was I pulled it back down because it just left too much of a bump in there. Even though I cut out the bottom, they actually was fed from down around here from the way I had the tracks before. I pulled them up through here and I soldered them on the tracks right here, right before the turnout. I also soldered the joints in here. Now what I did was I pieced together a few pieces of the roadbed over here on the turnout. And you can see right here, I added some of the roadbed up here and continued on here. I used 30 inches, a 30-inch radius right here, and then I transitioned it to about 24 inches to bring it a little bit closer. And I cut a little bit off of the end of the wood that I had. So now I have like a straight edge right here for the bridge abutment. These little curved templates are really great. This is a 30-inch. Now what I'm going to use for the bridge abutment, it's going to be pretty well hidden behind this other one right here. And this bridge is going to be here. So it's going to be kind of hard to see. So I have this piece from somewhere else that I tore out before, and it's already bent, and it'll fit nicely right underneath here. And what I'll do is I'll just bring it out just a little bit so I could put the bridge boot on it. Now the bridge that I finally bought is the Atlas through truss bridge, and what I did was I lightly painted it. I put the Harvest Orange on there to simulate some rust, but I'm going to have to touch it up just a little bit more and then put some dull coat on it. Still seems pretty shiny, and then I'll have to do the inside here. But it's going to be, well, this side is going to be right here. Now I'm working on some model railroading for beginners episodes. And what I'm doing is showing how to make bridge abutments and bridge piers. And what I did on here, let me see. What I did over here is I cut out a little piece of the water right here in Rock Creek to accommodate the bridge pier. Now I have the pier on clamps right now because I put the Chooch Enterprises adhesive backed stone on it, like this one. This is an old one that I removed, and I'm going to be using this as the abutment for the other side. But it's actually, the one is actually going to sit right inside, right here in this slot. The new one. And like I said, I have it sitting right there under clamps. The pieces that I got, they were probably sitting in the hobby shop for a long time, and the adhesive isn't that well. I might have to add some more adhesive. The bridge abutment is going to be here. I put these supports here. I just have them sitting there for right now, but the abutment is going to be there for the opposite side. And I have my deck bridge and a Y turnout on that end. So it's going to sit there like this. And so that'll bring me across to the other side of Rock Creek. I have to put another layer of stone on here, and then when I do that, I'm just going to put a little piece of styrene underneath here. Where I have that line is the water level. So I just have to put a little thin strip of styrene right there to simulate a concrete base. And the rest of this is going to be under the water. So I just need that. I think that's 1/8 of an inch right there. So I just need a strip of styrene across here, because this is all you're going to see right here. And just maybe a little bit of the edge, because this is the view you're going to have, and you can see it's going to sit right in there. So most of the base is out of view, and even is really going to be even harder to see, because you're going to have to look really close, because that's where that bridge is going to be. So that's the view you're going to have right there. Eventually what I'm going to do is right there at the end of that's going to be coming down, and you're still going to see some of the track almost all the way back to about this point here, and then it'll be hidden behind the scenery. And there'll be buildings and everything up here at this level right here. Back on those tracks back there, about right here, I have to fill in some more scenery, and then I'm going to put brick wall or stone wall back in here, and then stone wall up in there, and then that'll all disappear behind the buildings that I have right in this area right here. I'd like to have more buildings, because I have a lot of buildings to build yet, and that's the main reason. Once I get this bridge in place right here, and all the scenery right in here, I'll be able to ballast the tracks. And then right here I have a tunnel portal, and right over there I have a tunnel portal, and we'll be able to finish this up over here. I just have to fill in that with scenery right there, and I'll have a couple of small buildings underneath the bridges, and I'll have a roadway that crosses these tracks right here. Even though my bridge pier isn't finished, I just wanted to show you what it's going to look like. Now this is at ground level. You can't see too much of the girder bridge because it's behind the other bridge. So let me bring it up like this and come over this way. So that's what it's going to be like. I just have to finish off the pier right here, and I'm going to have to redo the stonework on it because the adhesive isn't working too well on that, and it's coming apart, so I might have to put additional adhesive on the wood and then reapply the stonework and then put the second level up on there. But let's take a look at it from this end over here, and that's what it's going to look like over top of Rock Creek. And then this right here is enough for 2 box cars. And where's my box cars at? Right here. Let me bring them over there. That's just enough for 2 box cars to service Schmedleyville. And then we're going to go across Rock Creek. And so I have a little bit of work to do, but that's the fun part of it. Let me pull this out of the way so you can see what it actually looks like there. There's a little bit better view of it right there. You'll notice that I have quite a few pieces of track that I had some ballast still between the ties, like that one right there. That's because I used them over, and I'm going to do a video also on that to show you how you can remove your old track without damaging it. But you have to do it with white glue. You can't do it with the caulking like a lot of people do. So, until the next time, we'll see you.